February the 16th, 2021, and you know why you're here. So let's kick this off right and introduce the players. Hey, I am Gerissar, a PvP Padawan.
Yes, it is.
You're working. Oh, no, I can hear you.
OBS.
Oh, weird. Oh, you're popping in my
Okay.
ears.
Making sure that it's
we're
good
about to
there.
find out
There we go.
from the listeners when they can say something in chat.
Nah, it should be good
And
now.
in the meantime, we'll wait for the mosaic that is my camera to actually start working. Because apparently the internets do not like us.
It's a weird tech day today. It's just a weird. Like, it took me forever to get set up. I don't know why, but that's okay. No worries. So, guys, guess what? We have an awesome... Sit down, Gerissar. Hold up. We have an awesome guest today joining us. Once again, a double reoccurring guest here on the podcast, Mr. Bigmoran here to talk with us about Resto Druids in 9.0. How you doing today, Big?
I'm doing pretty good. I can't complain. I'm here on the podcast. It's been my dream to come back, and it's dreams do come true.
They do.
Nice.
And you didn't have to wish upon a star.
Oh, actually, I did. I wished upon many stars. So
Disney doesn't quite have a monopoly on that, so we're okay. Yeah.
Good stuff. I had no idea.
Very nice.
I was understood that's how dreams come true. Although I have wished upon one to reach 2K in PvP, and I still haven't done it yet. But I guess I kind of have to play too, right? Like it kind of goes. It doesn't just happen.
Well,
I think
no.
Okay. Anyways.
Yeah.
Hey, Big. It's been a long time since you've been on.
Yeah.
I know. I would expect that people know who you are just because you're so into the community. But just in case somebody out there doesn't know who you are, can you give us a quick elevator pitch? Who is Bigmoran?
well, Bigmoran's been many things, but I started off kind of making these silly little troll videos that I used to post on an old PvP website called Arena Junkies, and I guess people like them enough to the point where I got a little bit of a following from that. But I've since given that up, and I've transitioned to do quite a few different things. Actually, I've been a writer at Wowhead. I've been a skill cap contributor for the past almost like a decade at this point.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of doing a lot within the PvP community, off and on. But right now, I'm kind of actually really on how involved I am in the game and in the community. So, but it's been a trajectory from being a troll to kind of being more professional. And so, I think that's a part of maturing. And so I'm here to talk about druids, and help the community and give my opinions.
I think a mixture of both, professional and troll, is good. There's a healthy balance there, That's what we all that's what we all really should be striving for.
Yeah, it's being a troll though is like it's like the dark side of the force. You can't get sucked too deep into it because at a certain point there's no going back. So you have to just constantly be willing to readjust your life at some points.
I'm just envisioning that meme of like Emperor Palpatine with just unlimited power. Yes. We all must balance our troll instincts. So, I don't know. Sometimes we have to go to that Zen space to get there, I guess, right? So, but anyway, I guess talking about going to Zen spaces and doing things, one of the things we like to do is talk about what we've been up to the past 2 weeks since we last recorded. So, of course, Big, you can keep that just within your last 2 weeks. But, tell us a little bit about what you've been up to, what you've been running, what you've been playing. What you've been doing these last 2 weeks?
Well, actually, in real life, I started a new job, which is very exciting.
Congratulations!
So I re-rolled IRL.
Yes.
But for the past 2 weeks in WoW, of course, I've been enjoying the tournaments. I primarily play 2v2 in WoW, and I play a little bit of threes every now and then, but I've been focusing mostly on 2v2 for the past few years actually. But these past 2 weeks I've kind of experimented with different comps in twos, and I've been having a fun time with that. But yeah, I mean, I've been very active the past 2 weeks, and a lot of changes in my life, and a lot of changes in game, kind of at the same time too. So it's been nice.
Yeah, change is good.
It can be. Yeah. It's a little scary. I will say it was kind of fun when I think it was just last week I hopped into doing skirms for the weekly, and I saw you in a skirm, and I was like, hey, I know that guy.
Yeah, I don't know why I was doing. I don't know what the context of that was, but I remember getting a message afterwards, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that was you." Okay,
you
nice.
said you were checking a week aura. You had done up a week aura, and you'd be going to check it.
Yeah. That add-on is crazy. You have to check that add-on. You
It's
can't
super
just.
powerful.
It's too much power at times. You have to tune it down a little bit. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it was quite funny though. I think it was completely random 3v3 too. Like I ended up with 2 other people, no idea, and I don't think you were grouped up with anybody. You were just in there checking some stuff out, and it actually went pretty good. I thought up until I died, but yeah, other than that, it was fine. Yeah,
Nice.
I was actually quite surprised how hard it was to kill a Resto Druid.
Yeah, you learned about what bear form was, which I'm sure we're going to talk about.
Right. Yep. I ran into bear form a couple times. And then after I lost that one, I actually hooked up with so the guy that develops the Drustvar.com website, Chris. He actually ended up on Twitter. I saw something, so I messaged him, and I got him to join the auxiliary guild over where I'm at. So he joined over there, and then on his demo lock, so we're running Frost DK demo lock 2 skirms, which was in its own way fun. It was we lost horribly. It was a lot of fun.
I haven't heard the word demo warlock in many years. Brush out. I have to dust off my old dictionary. And I don't know what that is anymore.
I haven't seen one of these since the plague. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Actually, I think the last time they were played seriously was WoD. I think maybe Legion.
Because you could get a huge Stachyiel's consumption. Yeah. So it was legit.
Oh, yes, they used to send their imps on you. They had an imp explosion. So you just get hit by a bunch of imps.
Yep.
I hated that. What an insulting way to die, Just like get it, like all these little tiny imps just running at you and explode. Like, no, come on, get out of here.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's true. I remember seeing it. They had all swarm you. You're like, oh crap, here it comes.
Yeah, it's a very troll spec. I mean, we've been doing a lot of talking about trolls for whatever reason, but like, it's troll spec. Yeah. So
yeah, it was so much fun though. We lost a bunch, but I was having a blast doing it. It was just fun. And then trying to think what else. Oh, I got my Ruby Droplet out off of Garnia on the Timeless Isle. So
very
now
nice.
I've moved on to what am I doing now? So I ended up finding out that there's a couple achievements that I've never gotten. It's mostly just from random drops off the elites. So I ended up downloading handy notes and a couple of handy notes for that. And of course, they haven't been updated for like who knows how many expansions. So it's got. I think I spent half my time just clearing errors that pop up on my UI. So
yeah,
it's been annoying, but I'm going through and finding all the stuff that I haven't done there. So I figured, what the heck? And I've been trying for the good old love rocket. Got to get my big pink love rocket.
Do you now?
The elusive love rocket.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a metaphor because love eludes us all, and so does the mount. So you can't
exactly.
You never get it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, he crushed me. Big. I thought you liked me. Come on.
No one can escape the
true,
exclusive. Yeah, can't escape. So it affects us all.
It does. What have you been up to, Andallyn?
Jeez, man. I've been doing a lot with stuff in IRL. I've been trying to. Just notice that doesn't make any sense. In IRL would be in real life. That's, yeah. It's like people who say a canine dog. It's like, what? Sorry. I've been busy in real life, so I've been working on trying to get a job, but I've also been doing a lot with wedding planning with the fiance. So we've been doing all kinds of stuff, dude. We went cake tasting yesterday.
Ooh.
Like, this wedding cake, like this cake, I had never had a better cake in my life. I was like, oh my god, what are you making this with? It was ridiculously good, so I'm really excited about that. But we've been having a lot of fun doing all that kind of stuff, and we just got our concrete pad in the backyard. It just got poured today, so lots of exciting stuff going on here at the Andallyn house. So
nice.
Yes, sir.
I should actually hook you up with my. That sounds wrong. I should connect you with my wife because she does professional style cake baking just as a hobby.
Nice.
So, yeah, so she knows like everything there is to know about cake.
That's awesome. Yeah, my fiance does enjoy baking, and I was like, geez, you need to go work for her for like a week or two and just learn her secrets. Like, because whatever she's doing is working. So,
yeah,
it was delicious.
Cake baking is an art.
It really is. It really is. So,
anyway, well, why don't we roll into our need, greed, and pass segment, and then we'll see where else we can go in the events after that.
This likely won't be a clean eat, right? So keep your distance, Harry!
All right, Gerissar. So what you got for us? Because you're on deck. Believe it or not.
I am. And believe it or not, I remembered before the podcast started.
That is a technically true statement.
It may have been a minute before, but it was still before.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, of course, always the best ideas come out of quick thinking and paper napkins, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking about restoration druids, right? So what do we got about restoration druids? What could we talk about? I mean, restoration druid forms. So there's always that old the broccoli head, right? The restoration druid where he turns into a giant head of broccoli and then was able to cast a bunch of spells and you have to shut him down or else he'd heal up a whole team in seconds. And I was thinking, the broccoli head was kind of a meme, but why don't we be Mimi? And what other vegetables should a druid form turn into? So thinking about it. The arch nemesis to the broccoli is the cauliflower.
Yes, of course.
Right. And then
would it just be like albino?
Yeah, like that. So, just turn into a giant stalk of albino cauliflower.
Oh, like albino broccoli, essentially.
Yeah. But yeah. And then kind of thinking other veggies that are kind of good, but tallish. So leeks. Turn into a leek, or turn into a bok choy. I think that bok choy would look really good if you were a Pandaren druid. Not sure if they can actually do that or not, but which one would you need? Which one would you greet, and which one would you pass on if you had that choice? So leeks, cauliflower, or bok choy. And don't forget, people at home listening right now, you can give your opinion in the Twitch chat, or if you're listening at home after hours, by all means, after the live stream, by all means, send in your answer to technicallypvp@gmail.com. So, who's got an answer?
I'll go.
Yeah,
I'll take this one head on. So I was kind of hoping you were going to say Brussels sprout because I thought I'm a big fan of the Brussels sprouts, but that's okay. We don't have to do that. Sorry?
They look like a bunch of green balls.
Exactly.
I just see what you did there. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
No, it would be awesome though. It would be great. So I'm gonna need on the leak.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool. You can have.
Right.
Yep. I don't know really what the explanation or the reasoning is behind this, but it's what I'm press. I'm gonna press the dice need on the leak. I think that would be cool because the leaks are a cool shape. And then I'm gonna greed on the cauliflower, and I'm gonna pass on the bok choy. Pandarins. My priest is a panda, but it's just like it's kind of like the cringiest race. It kind of is.
Okay.
So and it's okay. It's just a fact. It's just a fact.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. It reminds me of one of my favorite memes though, where it's got like it's got a boat and it's like there's like a chat bubble coming out into the meme and it's like there's a leak in the boat and there's like an actual leak in the boat and he's just like ah! He's just like scream. It's great.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a great meme.
All right.
Mm-hmm. I digress.
Big.
So
What veggie are you going for?
I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna pass on instantly. I would insta pass on the cauliflower. Insta. I am team broccoli all the way, and I feel like cauliflower is just an inferior version of broccoli.
Mm-hmm.
So get out of my face, cauliflower.
All right.
And I think I would need on the bok choy, and then greed on the leek because I had bok choy actually yesterday, and I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it.
Yeah.
And so it's been near and dear to my heart and to my stomach recently. So, I have to rep what I've been consuming.
So
That would be my answer.
So one could say you were healed by this bok choy.
I was likely healed. I hope I wasn't
Okay.
damaged by this bok choy.
Okay. Yeah, nice. Couple swift mens
right.
in that stomach. Yeah, it's good.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I'm gonna do this. I'm actually gonna need on the cauliflower.
Oh,
No, I actually, and the reason is that I did it as a throwaway. I did it as a meme joke. But then your idea of having a albino druid sold me. I'm like, yeah, I got to do that.
Well,
so now
cauliflower is just albino broccoli.
Yeah, exactly. So that idea, I like that idea. And then I was going to greed on bok choy because bok choy is just a superfood. I absolutely adore the stuff. And leeks, I am going to pass on because I just don't trust leeks. It's like they can't figure out what they are. In my opinion, are they an onion? Are they a veggie? Are they like? I'm not sure. So, all right, there you go. So that was our need, green, and pass. I gotta love that. I love doing that. Again, people who are listening on the stream, I see Crazy Gel immediately, Kaz Gel immediately passed on bok choy. Didn't even consider just a no on bok choy.
Yeah.
So
yeah, shout out to everyone who's still listening who hasn't said, "What the hell am I listening to?" Yeah.
Oh, it's so true. It's
Yeah.
so true.
All right.
Let's talk about the upcoming WoW PvP events, and then we'll talk about what's new.
Yeah.
Get in there and fight! Stop hiding!
All right. So in our upcoming WoW PvP events.
All right. So we got the old favorites. So we got Dalaran Gaming and Flark's tournaments going on. I don't know what's going on over Synergy. I think Flark's just been super busy because he did one tournament in January there, and I thought, hey, he's on the go again, and then he hasn't done one again. So hopefully he does one soon. Again, just go over to the Synergy Discord and pay attention there. He spams it out when he's going to do his tournaments on the Sundays. So I'd say go check that out. The Diabolus Death Bowl is back. So we talked about this a few times. They got down to the top 8, if I remember correctly.
Mhm.
And so that is actually going to be streamed tomorrow over on the Diabolus Twitch page.
Yeah.
And finish on the 18th. The neat thing is if you actually go over to the Diabolus Esports website, they are going to be doing this monthly. They already have it scheduled all the way out to May, if I remember correctly. So EU only. And the reason why the Death Bowl is so spectacular compared to AWC is it uses basically AWC rules, except it also includes bans. So you can do a class ban between matches after the first blind round. And the first map is actually going to be Elysium Hold, not Nagrand.
I'm really happy they're doing that. There was a tournament a long time ago. I think it was actually either in Kata or Mists of Pandaria. It was like a major tournament, a major community tournament that had the same rules, and I loved it because they just gave you the most goofy comps.
Yep.
You know, because, you know, say your main healer is a Holy Paladin, which I'm assuming every team will pretty much be running Holy Paladin.
Definitely.
Or like a Fire Mage, right? And banning those like meta specs is so amazing for just the entertainment value of these tournaments.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I really enjoy it. You get some really goofy things sometimes, and I'm like, yeah, I like that. This is some good old fashioned World of Warcraft, you know, like. You don't need any Holy Paladins. Like let's use whatever we can. You know, it's like going out to the schoolyard and you just grab whatever ball you can and you play with your friends. You know, that's what it's like, and I appreciate that. I love that.
Yeah.
Ditto.
And when the 8th graders come and take all the good ones first, right? Yeah.
Yeah, those would be the Fire Mages, Holy Paladins, Warriors. You know, they're the oppressive 8th graders. To beat you up.
So I will say the other interesting thing is they don't allow back-to-back bans.
Yeah.
So between matches, you can't ban the same class twice. So if you ban Holy Pally, then you have to let Holy Pally go. So you'd have to ban Mage or have to ban Rogue.
Strategic.
Or yeah. So it's even more of a toss-up. It's I love it. The hardest choice in chat. Do I ban Fire Mage or Holy Pally? Which one do I ban?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Take your pick.
Yes. So I will say if 3v3 is not your jam, but 1v1 duels are, the Oasis Discord, community Discord, is doing 1v1 duels. So if I remember correctly, the sign up ends tonight at midnight Pacific time. So if you're listening to this on the podcast, sorry, too late. But if you're listening live and you want to do this, go sign up. That's NA only. Diabolus is EU only, but this Oasis is NA only. And they're going to be streaming that again on the 17th. So should be a fun go. The other one, this one I was really surprised by. I saw it pop up over on Ready Raider there. So the gaslighting community out of Russia is doing a classic 5v5 arcade mode deathmatch for EU and Russia. So the arcade mode deathmatch, the same as what Dalaran does, is the 5v5 1v1s. But this, they put up 1 million rubles.
1 million Russian rubles, yes.
1 million rubles.
Yes.
So that's like the largest community, especially for Classic. That's huge.
Yeah.
So, and they're going to be dual streaming. So they're going to be streaming in Russian, over on Gaslighting, and then there's going to be an English stream as well over.
Very cool.
One of the community members with the Ready Raider. So we're gonna have the links for that in the show notes, as always. And then last but not least, of course, we have the Blizzard official tournaments. So we have so there's nothing going on this weekend for tournaments because of BlizzCon Online. But then they'll start back up with MDI on the 26th, and then AWC Cup number 4 the weekend following, and then MDI Cup number 4 after that. And then I haven't seen what the dates are for the regionals. So we'll see what happens on that. Keep your eyes peeled. There's still some time, so I'm expecting we'll probably see that start up in April. I think if I remember correctly, the AWC circuits are going to run from April to May, if I remember correctly. So, And then again, like I just said, BlizzCon Online is this weekend. I didn't see any esports happening that weekend, so it's just going to be. So it's not going to be like your regular BlizzCon where there's some big tournaments going on, of course, because we aren't at grand finals or anything. But there is going to be lots of news. So I have to plug Warcraft Radio here for this one. So Warcraft Radio is going to be rebroadcasting most of the World of Warcraft stuff over on their Warcraft Radio through the app. So if you can't watch live, if you can't watch the VODs, but you want to listen in, pop on over, grab the app on your phone, or go over to the Warcraft Radio website.
Or use Alexa. Yeah.
Use Alexa. And you can listen to it.
Mine.
Did Alexa just answer you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. So by all means, do that, and on top of that, then they're also going to have a bunch of roundtable guests talking about what they just heard, right? So there'll be some between the news stuff. They're also going to be doing some live roundtable stuff. So go check it out, and as always, the Warcraft Radio Discord. You can go over there and you can enjoy a lively conversation with community members and other fellow interested gamers. And I'm going to be there for a bit of it. Andallyn, are you going to be live watching, or are you going to be? I know you're really busy with your life stuff. I'm just wondering.
I'm going to try my best. It depends. I've got a couple things already lined up this weekend. I plan on making the time to watch the opening ceremonies, and then I'm anticipating I'm probably going to be watching VODs for some of the stuff that I probably will miss, once everything kind of gets kicked off and rolling. But hopefully we'll see. Maybe there's a chance I'll be able to watch a few things. I haven't really even looked at the schedule yet, if they even put it out, about what's all going down each day. Yeah, I haven't looked at that yet, so I'll have to try and reconcile that with my schedule. So I got a couple things. Saturday is going to be pretty busy, so Sunday, hopefully all the good stuff's on Sunday. So,
I'm sorry, no, it's Friday and Saturday only. They truly can't. They did the 2-day thing.
Rip.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll watch it on Sunday, so it'll be great.
There you go. There's always the VODs. Big, are you going to be watching live at any of that, or?
I have the incredibly important task this weekend of playing Pokemon Go with my mother.
Nice.
So, I won't be able to watch part of the live broadcast, but in true BlizzCon fashion, I will be very, very intoxicated that night watching some PvP. That is the essence of BlizzCon, and in these trying times, I hope to respect it in the only way that I can, which is with a 6-pack of beers. So that's what I will be doing this weekend with that.
So since there's actually no esports, how are you going to watch some PvP? Are you going to bring up some old VODs?
The Death Bowl.
Oh, yeah. Well, no. So the Death Bowl is only till the 18th. It ends on Thursday.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes I like to light some candles around my room and turn on my old PvP videos and just watch them, and with
Nice.
dim lighting. And I'm like,
Nice.
oh yeah, a single tear drops down my face. I'm like, oh, those are the good old days.
Yeah.
But otherwise I'll figure out something to do.
Okay. You brought up a good point, and there has been some pretty nostalgia stuff going on recently, especially because the Blizzard 30, the World of Warcraft 15. There's the video talking about the history of the AWC, and some other chat that happened just last weekend during the AWC Cups, talking about some very nostalgic things. I actually kind of want to go back. I'm thinking I might go back and try to find some old historical, maybe some 2010 era stuff, and maybe just go back and watch those VODs just for giggles.
Yeah, that'd be
those
awesome.
Those are good. Those are very scrappy. If I had to use a word to describe that era of WoW esports, it's very, very scrappy. It's just it's very disorganized, but in a way, the disorganization kind of gives it a sense, like this appeal. You're like, oh, that's very no one knew what the heck was going on.
Yeah, it's exposed.
Right.
They're putting it all out there. It's just kind of, yeah. That's good.
Yes, and, like you had at one of these tournaments that was casted by VHell.
Yeah.
He was
Yep.
wearing a wizard costume, and he had a whole wizard hat and like a mustache, and like, yeah, that's some good role play right there. And so it's it's just so organic, I guess. And so I like those times.
Yeah. I
like
found
these
his
times
business
too.
card.
Yeah, I like these times too, but those times I'm like, oh, those, this is very, very goofy.
Yeah,
And I
Yeah.
like that.
for sure.
I'm still trying to figure what's better: VHell in a t-shirt, VHell in a wizard's outfit or cosplay, or VHell in a t-shirts with a sports jacket with some dubstep running in the background.
That's
Right?
tough.
Any
That's the
VL
next
is
need
good.
greed pass. Because we're gonna need 2 weeks to think about that one.
Yes. I was gonna say any VHL is a good VHL to me.
Yeah,
That's true.
I like them all.
That's true.
yeah.
That's one thing. I actually messaged him directly because I was like, "Man, that's one thing I miss is chilling with you in the lobby of the Marriott and just like having some good chat."
Oh yeah,
So
definitely. Yeah, I was
right.
joking because I have his business card sitting here on my. And I was just kind of fiddling with, And I was like, wait a second, this the dude. It's funny. So
that is funny. Right before we get into the next spot, I just have to quickly apologize to everybody watching. Apparently, my internet has decided just to be buggy all night, and my camera apparently has not settled down. I look like I'm somewhere. I feel like I'm in a Picasso somewhere.
Yeah.
It's pretty horrible. If you're listening from home, go check out the VOD. You'll get a kick out of it. All right, let's analyze the subject, and we'll analyze Big's brain about Resto Druids.
I'm gonna light you up, sweet
This is my
cheeks.
favorite thing.
yes, as Millhouse
Getting your brain
says.
picked?
Specifically about Resto Druids. This is the moment I've been waiting for. I've been twiddling my thumbs, and now I'm leaning up in my chair, and I'm ready.
Okay. Well, let's jump into it. Gerissar, since this is your favorite part, talk about the roles. I'm going to let you take that one.
I love it. Well, right before, so normally we talk about roles, like what role does a Resto Druid play in PvP? But right before we do that,
big damn.
Yeah, big damn, of course. Bring on the Convoke if you can. What's really changed though? Because a lot of classes, there's only been some minute changes since BFA. So can you give us a quick rundown? What if we grabbed our druid that has been sitting on the shelf since BFA and grabbed it right now and went off running to Shadowlands? What would we notice is different, Big?
Well, it's one of the things you talked about in your skirmish first meet. Resto Druids right now are incredibly tanky, and I think they're the tankiest they've ever been. Whenever I go into an arena game into threes, I am never worried about dying. There's very few comps that can truly cheese a Resto Druid and get a kill that way, but they're very, very tanky right now. One of the main differences, if you haven't been playing for a while, is a lot of the Druid healing is actually not based on your heals over time. Those are kind of like an accessory to your bigger heals, which are through Swift Mend and through Regrowth. So they've kind of transitioned to be from being a primarily healing over time class to a larger healing type class, which has some implications for how you should play, but the healing rotation is pretty much the same as it's always been.
Okay.
Right now, specifically with this expansion, they're kind of a bit more defensive than they've been in the past, and that's just because of the meta. This is a very unforgiving meta. You go in, you make one positioning mistake, and your team's dead. So you kind of have to play passively.
Mm-hmm.
So those are, I think, overall the biggest changes since BFA. If I had to put my finger on it.
Yeah.
That's a really good synopsis. I like it.
It is, yeah.
So I guess I have to immediately. I wonder though, is if they're that tanky, and they have that much throughput, why is Holy Pally the go-to?
Well, their throughput is really good, but the throughput doesn't matter in the event that you have the enemy Fire Mage or the enemy Ret Paladin popping wings or combust. So your throughput is good for kind of padding the damage that kind of happens passively in Arena. But the moment, the enemy team turns on the gas and presses their offensive cooldowns, that's where Resto Druids really struggle. So Holy Paladins, they have Blessing of Sacrifice with the Ultimate Sacrifice PvP talent. They can mitigate all that damage.
Yeah.
Resto Druids, you're pretty much limited to Iron Bark and your HOTS. And so you kind of have to just pray that that's going to be enough. You have to pray that you get a good crit. And if you don't get those things against a really strong bursty comp, your teammates are just dead. So that's primarily the big difference is Druids don't have the damage mitigation for their partners as well as classes like Holy Paladin or Disc Priest do. So that's kind of what's holding them back right now.
Okay.
It's just that ability to negate a lot of upfront damage from a lot of these bursty classes.
Yeah, especially in the current environment of Arena, I can see where that would be a huge problem. Considering every comp seems like it's setting up every kill window and every kill condition is all built around major cooldowns right now, rather than like mana game or something a little bit more nuanced. It's all about big cooldowns, so I can see where that would be a major problem.
Yeah. Arena's kind of like a series of puzzles, your team gives the enemy a bunch of puzzles, the enemy team gives your team a bunch of puzzles. Right now, Holy Paladins just have the best ways to solve puzzles. They have very efficient cooldowns. A lot of them have short cooldowns. A lot of them are very powerful, and so they can just solve a lot of these problems that you encounter in Arena very efficiently. Resto Druids right now don't really have that. But I can definitely see with a few, just a simple hotfix that Resto Druids could be a really, really, really strong healer. But until then, we're gonna have to settle for being like B tier or low A tier until that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you guys get back from the Great Unpruning?
Oh my gosh, we got a lot of things in a lot of different places.
Okay.
So I'm gonna struggle to remember this off the top of my head, but if you play Feral Affinity, basically the affinity system got reworked a little bit, and depending on what your affinity is, you got something back for each affinity. So for those of you who don't know, if you play Resto Druid, you can choose an affinity. Well, if you play any spec of Druid, really, you can choose an affinity. Meaning, if you are a Feral Druid, you can choose a Resto Druid affinity, meaning you can heal more. You have more healing spells. Or if you're a Balanced Druid, you can choose a Guardian Druid affinity, which gives you additional defensive abilities. So, Druids kind of got an overhaul to that system a bit. And so each one of the affinities now provides you with something you didn't have in previous or in BFA. And on top of that, some things became baseline, like Cyclone became baseline, which it previously was a PvP talent. So that opened up a lot of options for your PvP talent selection. That was something I was really that's something that I really enjoyed, is Cyclone being baseline.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the affinity system is probably the biggest change, and we got Nature's Swiftness back, which allows you to get an instant heal off, and that's been something I think that Druids are definitely lacking. I think that's actually one of the things that's carrying Druids right now, is the fact that they do have Nature's Swiftness back. If they didn't have that, I think they'd be in a much worse place than they are right now. And you got Heart of the Wild back, which was a talent that has... When the last time, I don't know when it was removed. I think it was removed, at the end of Warlords of Draenor, going into Legion. I don't remember, but we got Heart of the Wild back as well. So there's some additional offensive options, defensive options, depending on how you use it.
Sounds good. Wow. Okay, so going to what Andallyn had actually been alluding to, is that my my roles conversation. I know he doesn't like this one, but I feel it.
I just know it's your favorite.
Yeah. Well, I think because when everybody thinks of a spec, they usually think of it being either a tank, a DPS, or a healing spec. But in PvP, there's actually support, heals, or damage, right? So some specs do damage, but everybody can have the option of doing damage, I think, and not everybody has the option to do healing. Some people can do off heals, some can't, depending. And then there's always the support stuff, and that's the stuff that really makes the difference in PvP, I find. So I guess with druids, with playing a Resto Druid, what's the damage like? What kind of damage are you able to put out if you are putting out any, or are you just too busy spamming healing buttons so you don't get a chance to do a moonfire or something like that?
It depends. In 2v2, you can actually do a lot of damage. You have a bit more freedom with your globals, that's kind of the reason why I'm drawn to 2v2 is because it gives you a bit more freedom of how you can play. In 3v3, you don't really do too much damage, but there's a really cheesy build you can run using Heart of the Wild and Convoke the Spirits. So of course, we've probably all died at some point to a Boomkin or Feral Druid using Convoke. But you can actually use it as a Resto Druid using Feral Affinity or Balance Affinity. And if you choose Feral Affinity and you use Convoke, you're going to have really strong melee attacks. If you have Balance Affinity and use Convoke, you're going to have Boomkin attacks. So the damage is pretty good with that, but it's kind of like you're going all in at that point. It's putting all the chips on one slot. That's kind of a risky maneuver to pull off. It can work, but it's just it's a big investment. And but Resto Druid damage is it's kind of mid tier as far as healers go. I'd probably put it in line with Resto Shamans, who actually can do pretty good damage themselves. But it's not as good as Disc Priest or Holy Paladin.
Okay, so it kind of gives you a good ballpark of where they kind of sit then. Which is what I was wondering. Obviously, as a Resto Druid, you're there to heal, so you can do heals. What do they bring for support then? We talked about Cyclone being baseline now, right? Mm-hmm. What else would you say works for, I don't know, supporting your other players or CC, snares, anything? Because there's roots, right? You can root somebody. Mm-hmm. Vortex? Yeah.
So I mean, you have a bunch of different tools available to you as Resto Druid, and you have, depending on your comp, you choose a different toolbox. So if you're playing a caster cleave, like say you're playing with a mage and a shadow priest, then you might want to go Feral Affinity, and that will give you some additional stuns. And so your role then becomes in that comp to kind of set up the kill opportunities for your team. You basically become a rogue when you play Resto Druid in a wizard cleave, because you have multiple stuns, and you can kind of set up CC on healers using those stuns. You can set up CC on DPS for the kill targets. So your role kind of changes depending on what comp you're playing. If you're playing something like a melee cleave, you probably don't need to be doing that, and in fact, it would probably be really bad if you did something like that. So you'd probably want to play something like Guardian Affinity and just kind of play more passively. So it really depends. That's what I've always liked about Druids, is you always have multiple ways you can play the spec, and it really depends on what comp you're playing. You get a lot of flexibility in play style, and you can kind of, in a way, express yourself a lot with Resto Druid, just because you have so many options as what you can do. But typically, if you're playing a setup-based comp, you become part of that setup. You're an integral role to making sure that your team can execute the kills. If you're playing like a melee cleave that doesn't really have setups, but it has, raw damage, then your role changes a bit and you become more of support. You're like, oh, can I make sure my melee are able to connect with their targets? Do I need to be rooting the killed targets? Do I need to be bashing the killed targets? So your environment really determines how you should act as a Resto Druid.
All right. Okay. Sorry, my mind just kind of went because that actually opens up a whole bunch of. I was so busy thinking about just like what a Resto Druid could play, but then I forgot that if you go cat form, then you can bash somebody, right? If you, like I'm just wow. Okay, I need to start playing Druid some more. Whoa.
Yeah, Druid is
All right. Didn't I just see? Was it like a Guardian only raid team just cleared some raid? Saw on the news. I think it was in Classic. Yeah. All right, I digress. Okay, well then let's do the part that I think Andallyn looks forward to the most, and let's run through the talents, and we'll say what they are, and then you can tell us what you would pick and what you would avoid, and kind of why. So. Yeah. Andallyn, why don't you run off with the first tier?
Sure, let's talk about this first tier. So the first one is Abundance. For each rejuvenation you have active, regrowth's cost is reduced by 6%, and critical effect chance is increased by 6%. We also have Nourish. Nourish heals a friendly target for 194% of your spell power, and it receives a triple bonus from Mastery Harmony, which is your Mastery. And then you have Cenarian Ward. Cenarian Ward protects a friendly target for 30 seconds. Any damage taken will consume the ward and heal the target for 316% of your spell power over 8 seconds, and that's on a 30-second cooldown. So break this down, this tier for us.
So I pretty much always choose Cenarian Ward, just because if you play Resto Druid, you're probably playing Necrolord as your Covenant. And so Necrolord's Covenant ability, one of them actually, is a 25-second cooldown. It just buffs all your hots by a lot. And so you can use that in conjunction with Sen Ward, and that's actually a pretty good defensive option in a lot of situations. So yeah, Sen Ward is the best. I've played around with Nourish a bit, and it just didn't seem that good. So I would always pretty much play Sen Ward.
Simple. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Gerissar, you want to take this next row?
Yeah. All right. So next year you got their Tiger Dash, so you can shift into cat form and increase your movement speed by 200%, reducing gradually over 5 seconds. Renewal, that's a 1.5 minute cooldown where you instantly heal yourself for 30% of your maximum health, usable in any shape, form, or any and all. And Wild Charge, so it grants you a movement ability. It varies by your shape form. So if you're non-shape shifted, you fly to an ally's position. In a bear form, you charge to an enemy and immobilize them. Cat form, you leap behind the enemy and daze them. And then balance form, you as a moonkin, you bound backwards. And in travel form, you just leap forward 20 yards. And in aquatic form, you're never in aquatic form. So, all right, which one would you use?
Well, I have the answer which one I use, which is the very hipster choice. I use Tiger Dash actually almost exclusively, and I'm the only druid I've ever seen in the past 3 years who uses Tiger Dash. Most people play Wild Charge, and just because it's a more flexible talent, but I really like Tiger Dash. I just have fun with that ability. So if you want to win games, you probably want to play Wild Charge, because it's just probably overall better and more consistent. But I really like Tiger Dash, so I play Tiger Dash. And I don't know.
All right.
So why do you like Tiger Dash, I guess, as opposed to the Wild Charge?
Because it makes you really fast, and being fast in arena is fun.
Get my Nikes on.
Yeah, just the way I play, because I mostly play 2v2, and so the way I play 2v2, I benefit a lot from playing Tiger Dash, because I like to kind of, you get to be like a little cat, you sneak up on someone and then you quickly run away, I like that sort of play style better than the Wild Charge. But if you want to win games, play Wild Charge.
Yeah.
But don't you win games?
Yeah, you can win games as Tiger Dash, but
in twos.
I will note Tiger Dash has a 45-second cooldown versus Wild Charge has a 15-second cooldown.
Yes.
So does make a bit of a difference. All right.
Yep.
Let's talk affinities. Andallyn?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got the balance affinity. So if you take the balance affinity, this will increase the range of all your abilities by 5 yards through astral influence. And you'll also learn Moon Conform, Star Surge, Starfire, and Typhoon. Now, we're not going to go through all those because if you want to know what those are, go to Wowhead. You probably already know. So we also have Feral Affinity. With Feral Affinity, you gain Feline Swiftness, which increases your movement speed by 15%. You'll also learn Rake, Rip, Swipe, and Maim. It also, your energy regeneration is also increased by 35%. And lastly, we have the Guardian Affinity, where you will gain Thick Hide. That reduces all damage taken by 6%. And you will also learn Thrash, Frenzied Regeneration, yum, and Incapacitating Roar.
So this is a very, very situational tier. I'm a firm believer that if you play 2v2, you should pretty much always be Feral Affinity. There's very few situations, if any situation, where you want to be Guardian Affinity in 2v2. So if you play 2s, pretty much always Feral Affinity. Now in 3s, again, it depends on what comp you're playing and what comp you're playing against. So it's kind of harder to answer that question. But typically in 3s, you can get away with playing Guardian Affinity every single game. There's a few comps that you could play Balance Affinity against, but I've never really liked Balance Affinity. I think it's really overrated, actually. And so I think if you just play 3s, Guardian Affinity, and if 2s, stick with Feral Affinity.
Makes sense.
Okay.
I have to ask, just for the people that play RBGs, does that change? Does Doom Battlegrounds change that choice somewhat?
I think in RBGs you pretty much always go Guardian Affinity. Usually, in my limited experience with RBGs this expansion, is Druids, while they're not like the preferred healer in RBGs, they do inevitably become the offensive healer. In like, so say, you have to go after the flag carrier, you have to heal your team going after the flag carrier. You become, the healer to do that because you're very mobile. You can run fast. So you're gonna want Guardian Affinity specifically for incapacitating Roar, for an AoE CC, because in RBGs, if you're going after flag carriers, if you just simply AoE CC the healers for the 2 or 3 seconds, that's enough time if everyone's dogpiling on the FC to get a kill on the FC.
And if you even land a clone off, that's...
And Guardian Affinity, you don't die. Like, that's what I was saying. That's what makes Druids really tanky, is Guardian Affinity. For every single Druid spec, including Boomkin, right now, for anyone who's watching, if you play 3v3 Arena, don't try to kill the Boomkin. It's always a trap, because they'll just never die if they're playing Guardian Affinity. So it just makes Druids really, really super tanky. And so that's always really good in RPGs. It's just be really tanky.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. It makes sense. I first-hand experience. I tried it. It doesn't work well.
Yeah.
Right.
So why is Balance kind of overrated in your opinion? Do you think it just doesn't have the damage that you would expect from it? Because I would imagine having Star Surge would provide you a lot of extra damage pressure as a druid.
Yeah, but if you get locked on your Star Surge, that means you're locked on... Well, first of all, you have to... Actually, never mind, I lied. Star Surge is instant cast, but you need Astral Power for it. I don't know how it works in Balance Affinity, but I'm pretty sure it works this way. Is you're going to need to generate Astral Power in order to be able to use your Star Surge. So
Gotcha.
that will involve you casting 5 Wraths in a row, or...
Yeah.
What is that? I don't know. I can't do math right now. But anyway, you have to do some math to play Balance Affinity.
Gotcha.
And so it doesn't really work out too well. You may need to play it for the increased range on all your spells, so you can kind of play back a bit more. But again, I think the other two things are just more valuable consistently than an additional 5 yards on all your spells.
So do you ever play Feral Affinity for the extra movement speed because you like to run?
I mean, that's an additional bonus. I like it because you
Yeah,
have
I
a
mean,
main. You have
Yeah?
a rake. You have basically a cheap shot and kidney shot as feral affinity, and so that's a nice part. Is you can really do a lot with those abilities. You can do a lot of CC setups for your team, and I like that. I'm always drawn to supporting your team. I'm believe it or not, I'm a team player. I really really like to. Like I would die for my arena partners. Maybe not in real life, but
If
in
they
the
could kill
arena,
you.
you know, if I could sacrifice my character for them to win the game, I would every single time. You know, I want them to win.
Yeah.
So I like Feral Affinity for that reason.
For sure.
That's very untroll-like. I'm confused.
Yes. Selflessness not computed. Yeah.
No, yeah, of course.
All right.
Incineration protocol.
Well, what about this next tier then? So we got the Mighty Bash on the 1 minute cooldown that invokes the Spirit of Ursoc to stun the target for 4 seconds, usable in all shape forms. You got your Mass Entanglement on a 30-second cooldown, roots the targets and all enemies within 15 yards. In place for 30 seconds, damage may interrupt the effect, usable in all shape forms. And then Heart of the Wild, which is a huge 5-minute cooldown. Yeah. And abilities associated with your chosen affinity are substantially empowered for 45 seconds. So as Resto Infinity, your healing spells are increased 30%, mana cost reduced by 50. You can't really be Resto and Restoration Infinity, so okay. Then you got your Feral, or the damage of your Feral abilities increased by 30%. Critical strikes with attacks that generate a combo point generate an additional combo point, so you get more combo points, which is awesome. Balance Affinity, so balance damage. Damage of your balance abilities increased by 30%, and star surges are instant. Okay, so now you don't have to worry about. I guess you still need
doing
astral
math
power though, right?
Yeah, you still need the
Yeah.
Still got to do math. Ugh.
Math sucks.
Yeah.
All right, and then Guardian Affinity. The bear form gives an additional 20% of stamina. Multiple uses of Iron Fur may overlap, and Frenzy Regen has 2 charges. Oh, mama! All right, that's a 5-minute cooldown. You get like maybe 1 shot of that during an arena.
Yeah, that's why I was saying if you want to play that with Convoke, it's a really big gamble. You know, you're going all in at that point. If you want to invest a 5-minute cooldown with a 2-minute cooldown to Convoke, you can do some nasty stuff with Balance and Feral Affinity, but if you don't win the game at that point, you're basically talentless in that entire tier because it's a 5-minute cooldown. Good luck good luck surviving for 5 more minutes. Yeah. But I mean, on this tier, typically you want to play Mighty Bash. It's just the most consistent, it's the most flexible. It's never bad. And compared to something like Mass Entanglement can be okay in very specific situations. And in fact, if you're a newer player to Druid, it might be better for you to play that talent just because it's a bit easier to use and kind of, it's a get off me ability. And so that's always nice. But I think play Mighty Bash if you want to, push rating in 3v3 or 2v2 or even RBGs, it's going to be the best talent.
Yeah.
All right. I have seen Mass Entanglement used a lot in BGs and RBGs, especially on like Silver Shard Mines and that, just because it completely screws over a team and locks them in place.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
What about if you're playing something that has a lot of stun DR? Do you still take Mighty Bash to be able to put it on and off, or do you think
you still take Mighty Bash?
Okay, to go for the off target. Okay.
In Arena, there's very few situations where you want to choose Mass Entanglement.
Okay, yeah. I was just kind of curious about what your opinion was on that. But let's talk about this next tier. So we have Soul of the Forest. Swiftmen increases the healing of your next regrowth or rejuvenation by 200%, or your next wild growth by 75%. We also have Cultivation. When rejuvenation heals a target below 60% health, it applies Cultivation to the target, healing them for 28.8% of your spell power over 6 seconds. That sounds garbage. Incarnation Tree of Life, the broccoli form. Here it is. 3-minute cooldown. It allows you to shape shift into the Tree of Life, increasing healing done by 15% and increasing your armor by 120%, and granting protection from polymorph effects. Functionality of Rejuvenation, Wild Growth, Regrowth, and Entangling Roots is enhanced. It lasts for 30 seconds, and you may shapeshift in and out of this form for its duration. So break this down for us.
So the most consistent talent on this tier is Soul of Forest, just because it gives you flexibility to use it either with Rejuve or Regrowth. So if you want a powerful hot, you can use it with Rejuve. If you want a powerful powerful casted heal, use it with Regrowth. I think maybe Cultivation might be good against Dot Cleaves. In the off chance you play against something like Shadow Priest Affliction Warlock, it might be good in that situation. It might also be good in RBGs, I don't know exactly, but you're just going to get more consistency overall with Soul of the Forest, I think, in most PvP situations.
Okay. Gotcha. So, with the Incarnation Tree of Life, is this just not as good as it used to be? Like, what's the deal with it?
It's okay. Like, it's a big. You're giving up a lot to play. You're giving up a lot of consistency to play with something kind of more bursty, I guess. So it can be good if you know the game is going to last a very short period of time. You know, if you have like an all-in strategy and you know the other team's going to have an all-in strategy, then it might be good. But you're just going to get in longer games, more practical arena environments, Soul of the Forest is always going to outperform Tree of Life.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with it being like a 3-minute cooldown. I feel like at most burst windows at their longest are 2 minutes, right? So, would you like attribute that to maybe why the value of Incarn is just outperformed by Soul of the Forest?
Yeah, and especially because Incarn interacts, it multiplies with Nature Swiftness. So Nature Swiftness you use with Regrowth to get an instant cast heal. Nature Swiftness will passively buff the healing done by Regrowth, so you have 2 modifiers now that are going to be interacting with that single Regrowth spell. And Nature Swiftness, I believe, depending on your conduits, is in between like a 47 to 50 second cooldown. I'm sorry, 47 to 60 second cooldown, and that's just pretty much always going to outperform Incarnation in most environments.
Gotcha. Sorry, and as a last kind of question here, what does it mean when it says the functionality of Rejuve, Wild Growth, Regrowth, and Entangling Roots is enhanced? What does that mean?
So Rejuve, when you in tree form, gets a bonus to how much it heals. Wild Growth becomes instant cast, and Regrowth becomes instant cast. Oh, I don't know if Wild Growth. I don't remember which. Regrowth definitely becomes instant cast. I don't remember about Wild Growth. It might heal an additional person. I don't know how that works. And then Entangling Roots becomes instant.
Okay, nice.
So those are the bonuses.
Gotcha. Okay, very good. That clears it up. Just in case anybody else was wondering that. Sometimes these tooltips can be kind of trash, you know.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to PvP, because it's like, oh, well, it actually doesn't do that in PvP. It's like, what?
Yeah.
So.
Wait, you mean my fear doesn't have a 1 minute CD anymore?
Yeah. What the heck, man? It's supposed to last for 60 seconds.
One item from chat. They're just saying, just noting that Wild Growth isn't instant in tree form anymore. It just goes to more people.
Yeah. Okay. I couldn't remember.
It's
been a while since I played tree.
Oh, good. But I thought you liked broccoli. No, I'm kidding. All right. All right. Let's move on. So we have the inner piece, which reduces the cooldown of your tranquility by 60 seconds. Spring blossoms. So each target healed by efflorescence is healed for an additional 21% of your spell power over 6 seconds. Overgrowth, which is a 1 minute cooldown Applies Life Boom, Rejuve, Wild Growth, and Regrowth Heal over time effect to an ally within 40 yards.
So 99% of the cases, you're going to want to play Overgrowth, but I am not completely sold on it. I think potentially Spring Blossoms might be better. It'd be one of those situations where you're going to need a calculator. You're going to need some math to figure out what's better.
Oh, math again?
Math again, dude.
I think if you're listening to this, you want to know what talent to play Overgrowth. But I will say that I am not completely sold on it. I think there are some situations where Spring Blossoms might actually be better. It's just about finding when those situations specifically are. So right now play Overgrowth, but potentially play Spring Blossoms. I think if you play RBGs, I think you should play Spring Blossoms 100%. But in Arena, it's very hard to say, I think, that definitively what is absolutely better. But right now it's leaning towards Regrowth, but it could be Spring Blossoms.
And what's the normal cooldown on Tranquility? Is it 3 minutes?
I believe it's either 3 or 2 minutes. I should know this, but I don't.
No worries. Sorry to put you on the spot. No, I was thinking like 60 seconds off of a cooldown, but I don't know what that. So
that is I think that is the choice. If you're a raider, I think you might play that, because I think I think Tranquility is such a big AoE heal.
Yeah. Oh, chat. Thank you, Twitch chat. The fourth co-host. They said it's 3 minutes. So that drops it down to a 2-minute cooldown. I mean, I can see that being also very important, going back to if you're on the offensive as a healer, drop a Tranquility, you just pop your whole team back up to full while they're doing the offensive, right? So
yeah,
assuming you don't get locked on it.
It could be good in RPGs, yeah.
All right. Last tier, Andallyn, you get the big finish.
Absolutely. Let's talk about this last tier. So we have the photosynthesis. So while your life bloom is on yourself, your periodic heals heal for 20% faster. And while your life bloom is on an ally, your periodic heals on them have a 4% chance to cause it to bloom. We also have germination. You can apply rejuvenation twice to the same target. And lastly, flourish. This extends the duration of your heal over time effects on friendly targets within 60 yards by 8 seconds, and increases the rate of your heal over time effects by 100% for 8 seconds on a 1.5 minute cooldown. So break this tier down for us, because there's some pretty potent stuff here.
Yeah, so typically you're pretty much always going to play germination in PvP.
Okay.
Just because the way Resto Druid Mastery works. Resto Druid Mastery, for every hot you have on the target, you get a bonus increase to your healing overall. So if you can apply an additional hot, then you're buffing your mastery at that point. So not only are you healing more because they have an additional hot, but you're healing extra more because you have more mastery, more of your mastery effect. So that is typically the best talent, and also gives you some dispel fodder. You know, if you're playing against a team that likes to purge a lot, it's better to have more buffs on your teammates. So germination gives you an additional buff.
Sure.
I don't think there's ever going to be a situation in PvP where you play the other talents, but I can't say that you shouldn't ever play those talents. It's just germination is going to be the most consistent, I think, at the time being, just because of how it interacts with your mastery.
Okay.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And Rejuve is a fairly strong heal, if I remember right. So
it's okay, yeah. Right now, hots are a bit weak, but it's there. It exists.
I'm trying to make it sound better. Come on.
Yeah. No, yeah. It's okay. It's cute. You know, it's you know, it tickles you a little bit. You know?
I can't wait to do
a little tickle.
I can't wait. Okay, I can't wait to do a little snippet of just the general vibe between us talking with our guests about Holy Paladins, and then talking about with Mistweavers, and then about Resto Druids. It's just like, just show the comparison between like, oh yeah, man, it's great. You know, all these talents, and it's just like, yeah, you're probably just gonna die anyway. It's just like, it's funny.
So I actually felt that I didn't meme it off properly, but I remember when we had Mystical on talking about Mistweavers.
Yeah.
He's talking like Cocoon's basically a paper shell, and then there was the buff that they did to Cocoon, where they reduced the cooldown, and I was like, hey, aren't you excited? And he's like, yay, like. No, he didn't even respond. It was yeah.
Just
all right.
Sag.
Yeah, just is. Let's take a quick look at the PvP talents, since those are ever so important for PvP. So, why Big? Can you run through these? What 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Quickly run through these 10 talents and tell us what are your picks.
So you pretty much have a set of talents for melee cleaves and a set of talents for caster cleaves, and then you have a few options in between. So if you're playing against a caster cleave, you probably want to play something like Disentanglement, because most casters have some sort of snare effect, and so that will help you counter the snare effects. You can also play against caster cleaves Mark of the Wild, depending on whether or not they have a mage, because it can be bad against mages if they spell steal Mark of the Wild, but as a really good buff to just have. Against melee cleaves, Reactive Resin is your primary go-to PvP talent. Whenever your target gets melee critical strike on them, it will increase the duration of rejuve and instantly heal them a little bit, so that's really, really good. And against melee cleaves, you can also play Thorns, because if you don't know what Thorns is, if you attack someone with Thorns, you get hit for a big amount, and then you become slowed. So those are the two choices against melee. Outside of that, you always want to pretty much be playing Focus Growth. It'll just buff your Life Bloom. And then you have some flexibility with how you weave in other talents. You can play High Winds, which after you Cyclone someone, it'll get a damage reduction on them, so that's really good. Same with Master Shapeshifter. You can also play that if you plan on playing Feral Affinity. So you kind of have a set choice for caster cleaves, melee cleaves, and kind of everything in between. You can have a bit of flexibility.
All right. I like flexibility. It's much better than cookie cutter.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very nice.
That's interesting. So I did I did notice with the Thorns. I can't remember if you talked about this earlier, but just so before it used to be when you had Thorns, you would just reflect back a percentage of the damage you took, but now it just does a flat damage.
I think for a while it was really overpowered. There's like a brief period of time where it reflected too much damage back.
Yeah.
But now it's just been a set amount, and it's pretty good. It reflects back a decent amount. So, good talent against any melee.
I get off of a druid or a target when I see Thorns on it. It's like nope.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's a really good offensive defensive. Yes.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I like it that way.
Definitely.
All right. Next, most important, probably the question that everybody always asks, and I'm sure you probably see this all over the place. What covenant? Is there one covenant above them all for Resto Druid?
Yeah, it's probably Necrolord. It's just the most consistent. It gives you an additional hot, which is on the Shadow School. So if you get locked on Nature, you can use this hot because it's on the Shadow School.
Bonus.
And it gives you Fleshcraft, which again increases your survivability. Right now, it gives you crowd control immunity as well. Again, you can play Convoke the Spirits with Night Fae, but you're just going all in at that point. And then the other two covenants don't really matter at all for Resto Druid, to be honest. But yeah, so if you want to be most consistent, play Necrolord. If you want to cheese people, play Night Fae. If you don't care about any of that, just play the other ones.
Play whatever you want.
Yeah, play whatever you want, but definitely Necrolord if you care.
Okay.
All right. That makes sense. I do like how they're talking about doing some changes on these. I think it's the next patch they're coming out with in March. They're talking they're going to be changing up some of the covenants. I don't know. Are Resto Druids going to be on that? Are we going to see a change here?
They're getting a buff. Yeah, oh my gosh, Druids are getting buffed a lot next patch. Both the Necrolord Covenant abilities are getting buffed, so that's a huge change for Resto Druid. And they're buffing rejuvenation healing, so it's overall a really good patch if you're a Druid right now. So look forward to the next patch.
Yeah, that's big actually. All right, let's talk conduits then. What conduits are we looking at for our soulbinds?
So the most important one is let me see what it's called. It's called Well-Honed Instincts, and it's when you fall below 40% HP, you gain frenzied regeneration on yourself. And so that is a really big deal. So if you get a Druid low, they can just instantly proc a frenzied regeneration, and so that's really huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that stacks with another soulbind, or another conduit, I'm sorry, called Innate Resolve, and that increases the healing done by frenzied regeneration by a certain percentage on yourself. So if you get a Resto Druid low, you pretty much have to kill them twice, because they'll frenzied regeneration for pretty much half their HP if you get them below 40% of their HP. So good luck. And the other conduits, you have a bit of flexibility with how you play them. So I can't really speak on. It's kind of a lot of personal choice and kind of what your play style is. But one of the good ones is one that reduces the cooldown by your nature swiftness. It's called Ready for Anything. That can be a good one. Same with the one called Floral Recycling, which increases the amount of healing done by your swiftment. So yeah, you have kind of a bit of options with your offensive conduits, but with your defensive conduits, you definitely want the frenzied regen ones. Those are by far the best.
Oh yeah, those are huge.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I didn't have that on the list because that's listed as a Guardian affinity, the Well-Honed Instincts. So I ignored it. I was like, that's it.
No, it's broken. It's really good.
Yeah. Well, especially because it's meant for tanks to use, right? So.
Yeah.
Does that only? So do you have to be Guardian affinity for that to work? Then, is that how it links in, or?
It's just like Paladin. You know, you can play the tank affinity. You know, because a lot of red Paladins play the tank affinity or tank.
Legendary, yeah.
Legendary, whatever. It you can be whatever, and it still works.
Wow. Okay. All right. I really need to play around with the conduits more. Okay.
Yeah.
Last question. I know chat was asking about this already earlier. Legendaries.
Yes.
What legendaries are we looking at?
I'm pretty sure it's always going to be Verdant Infusion. I can't think of a single situation in which it wouldn't be Verdant Infusion. So you can play that. You can also play Sephuz. I've heard of some druids playing Sephuz. I don't like Sephuz, but if you want to, go for it. But Verdant Infusion is just going to be the most consistent by far.
Okay. Why don't you like Sephuz?
Because you give up Verdant Infusion for it. Verdant Infusion
the opportunity cost.
So big. Yeah, no, it really is. There's a massive opportunity cost with every legendary for druids because you give up something really strong.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I guess that's that then. Sorry, we were talking about gear and we didn't really talk about this. What stats you're looking for?
Your primary stat is always going to be the most important, and right now the secondary stats you're going to be looking for are haste and versatility. Just get those as high as you possibly can. I know right now they changed the way stats work. There's actually diminishing returns now on stats.
Yeah.
I think it's once you've reached 30%. I don't remember. There's diminishing returns. But yeah, it's pretty much haste is best, followed by verse, followed by mastery, then crit. That's pretty much how I would gear Druid.
Okay, that seems to be like the consensus for the community then.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. The whole thing. I heard the same thing with versatility. Like after 30%, it becomes a non-linear increase, so it starts to taper off. But somebody was saying that like for versatility, it's not that much. Like you might as well keep going for versatility regardless, even if you go past 30%, because it doesn't diminish that quickly.
The diminishing is not enough to be substantial. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay. Is there any other, like, other than 30% though? Is there any other soft caps or hard caps you're looking for any of those?
No, I don't think so. I think always just stacking burst and haste is going to get you a lot of mileage no matter what.
All right. Wow, we rapid fired that fast.
Yeah.
That's Druid. Wow.
Yeah. I think Andallyn, do you want to talk about comps?
Yeah, sure. So let's talk a little bit about compositions, which I guess is kind of looking a lot different from BFA, considering like Druid has kind of lost its limelight, or it's not necessarily intertwined in the meta where it was in BFA, where it was like you're going to dampening either way, so you might as well take a Druid. Otherwise, you're just kind of not giving yourself the best chance to win late in the game. So composition wise now, what are you looking to play with? What do you like to play with? And maybe what would you recommend for players who are just kind of getting into the arena or just starting on Druid to play?
Well, I think playing with a Druid, you pretty much always can play with a mage no matter what. That's probably your best synergy overall. Druid mage synergy.
Yeah.
Right now, especially because mages are really tanky. So if you play with a mage, that's really good. That's probably your best option. Twos, you have a lot of flexibility with what you can play with. You can pretty much play with anything in twos, and they can work. Threes, it's really hard to say, but you're pretty much kind of cornered into playing with a lot of the meta comps. The meta specs, like warriors, red paladins, mages. You have to play with something that is really good, or else you're just going to have a bad time. So, yeah, you have a bit of flexibility in twos, but you don't really have that flexibility so much in threes. You have to play something very meta, very strong on its own, no matter what the healer is. So that's kind of the situation you find yourself in with Druid.
Yeah. Okay. So, like, so what would be, like, some of your favorites, per se?
Well, actually, I like playing with Windwalker Monk in twos. It seems to have really good synergy. Mage is fun to play with in twos as well. In threes, I'm always been a big rogue mage fan, but I also like to play shadow play with an affliction monk and shadow priest.
Very nice.
Those are my favorites. Yeah. Okay.
So, and now let's talk about maybe some of the playstyles with these comps, just as a little bit to kind of bridge further on this. If you're playing with, you've talked a little bit already about if you're playing with a melee cleave, you probably should not be pushing in. You should be taking advantage of the range cast on your spells and stuff like that. But if you're playing, with shadow play, let's say for instance the Affliction Lock Shadow Priest, what's going through your mind as someone who's an experienced Resto Druid player about what your role is in that comp, just to kind of give people a little bit of an idea?
My mind is always set on how can I support my team. And so if I'm playing with casters love to have stuns. So if I can go in and push in as Feral Affinity, get stuns on the kill target, get stuns on the healer, that's exactly what I want to be doing. As Guardian Affinity, if I'm playing with a melee cleave, I just want to make sure that they don't die and I can support them along the way. So it's kind of your role changes depending on the comp you're playing. You really want to just be there to support your teammates. That will get you a lot of mileage.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice.
Makes sense. So I just saw your. Can I ask one more question, or do you need to take that break? Okay.
Oh no, we can ask one more question.
All right. Okay. So, I guess, how do I kill you then? Like, is there? Can I actually kill you, or is it like is that the bridge too far, and I have to just kill somebody else on the team?
So that conduit I was talking about earlier, the well-owned instincts, when it procs, it leaves a debuff on the Resto Druid, and it looks like the frenzied regeneration icon. Once that procs, the Druid is pretty vulnerable. So if you can catch them out of bear form when they are on debuff for that conduit, that's your opportunity to go in and really score the kill.
Okay. I need to make a weak aura for that then.
Yes,
all right.
for sure.
I think you just need to get a weak aura that says "kill his buddy." Yeah.
All right, cool. And I guess the one thing we always ask everybody is the one thing you would change. So, no budget, no that's too hard, nothing. Like the sky's the limit. If you could talk to the creators, the team, and ask for one thing, they say, yeah, sure, not a problem. What would it be? What's one thing you would change about the rest of it?
It would definitely be reverting Iron Bark to 40% damage reduction. Right now, Iron Bark is only 20% damage reduction, and that's by far the biggest thing holding Druids back, is they don't have a powerful damage reduction cooldown.
Yeah.
So you really need that additional 20%. That'd be huge.
Yeah, I can see that.
All right.
Gerissar,
All right.
do you have an idea of what yours would be?
Yeah. Just gonna answer yes. Yes. So, yeah, mine. So this is gonna sound silly, but I want that when druids do their non-form wild charge, when they click wild charge and they go leaping around from pillar to pillar by 20 yards, and they usually turn into like the elk or whatever.
Yeah.
Deer. I think that they in PvP they should turn into like some unicorn or something like that and leave behind like a sparkle trail, because like literally it's almost like what they do is like they're almost like riding a rainbow, just like leaping, and they clear like half the map. So I think that's what should happen.
Yeah,
That's
that's awesome.
opinion.
That's awesome.
How about you?
I like that.
What would you like? What would you like to see them do?
I'd like to see them listen to our Need Greed Pass and add either the bok choy or leek onto the or cauliflower as one of the shapeshift forms. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. No.
Okay.
yeah.
Man, I thought I hit like gold there for that one.
No. I trust me. I did enjoy the Need Greed Pass. I don't mean that in any way. But I'm not going to throw away my one thing that I would change on just being a different vegetable. So, nonetheless, I do think it would be really cool though if you did have a number of different forms. So like, I think it would be really cool if you did have a form that allowed you to either, I don't know, maybe get up on a Z-axis or something like that, or just become like. There's a lot of different things, and I don't really know exactly, but I didn't want to like. I still wanted to go down this road, even though I hadn't ironed it out. Like, imagine if you could transform into a snake or something like that, and all of a sudden you'd just be really hard to hit, or it makes your dodge chance go up. I think the idea of druids being a shapeshifter would add a lot of people have mixed emotions about this word now, but it would add a lot of class fantasy. I think, and if you could change into, they have the cat, which is really cool, but if you had like the snake, which improved your dodge chance or something like that, it might provide you a lot of ways to balance some of the other different things. It maybe like there's different types of trees that you could do. Something that was you could turn into a large like. Heck, even if you changed and replaced Transcendence to be a new shapeshift form that was like a giant cedar tree, and you just like took up like half the arena, and you were just like zoning out everybody, and it was your Transcendence or something like that. I think that'd be so cool. So
it'd be cool too if you could summon, other things like that. Like if you could summon a snake to do things. Or
Yeah.
summon a tree. You know, I think
That
that's
would-
kind of druids. They've used to have they could summon treants, right?
Yeah.
You don't have that ability as balanced druids still,
Right.
but you used to be able to do that as resto and feral druid even. So if you could summon treants, I think that'd be really, really fun. Or if you could summon snakes, whatever, I think that'd be really cool.
Absolutely.
Some additional utility would be really fun.
Yeah, I like the shapeshift form aspect of it, and I think that's what provides a lot of unique aspects to the druid class is that ability to shapeshift. So and it's so core to like the original WoW design. And I think the original class design that I think it would be really well received.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
So
All right.
kind of abstract for one thing, but I mean it's. I
like
didn't want to pass it up for something that was a little bit more descriptive. So.
No, I like it, and I like where you're going with it. The different abilities, the different shapes leading to other abilities, and different different support things where, like you said, like increases your defensives or increases your dodge chance and stuff like that. That's pretty awesome. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what's newsworthy as far as PvP goes, and then let's get out of here.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Who ordered up an extra large can of whoop ass?
Thank you, Millhouse, for that transition.
Indeed.
He's always
Such
on
a
point.
smart fella.
He always on point with them, but yet sometimes I think he would blame me. But that's okay.
Who's the person clicking the button? Well, for PvP
Millhouse.
news, as we always start off with the events that have happened. So there was the MDI Second Cup that finished back on the 7th of February. So Echo took that one. Congratulations to them for taking first place. That was actually a pretty close finish against Perplexed, if I remember correctly.
It was. Yeah. It was a very close finish. Very great games if you're interested in Mythic Dungeons.
Some people are. Actually, Big, do you watch any of the MDI stuff?
I do not. I've
That's
watched
okay.
a little bit of it, but I don't watch it regularly. No.
Not a problem. Sorry to put you on the spot like that. It's
No worries.
just curious. Now, the AWC, did you watch it?
I watched a little bit. I was actually working while it was going on. So yeah, I didn't get to watch all of it, but I heard there's some on the EU side. I heard there's some exciting games with Turbo Fleet coming out.
Yeah, there
And,
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yes.
I'm not surprised by the outcome in NA. So you know, we've seen this outcome many times now. So
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
I will say, now that the renown is, and I think people have gotten a little bit better with the classes and some of the nuances,
Yeah.
the games were a lot faster. Like the days,
Yeah.
like they finished way earlier than I was expecting on both days.
Yeah, they did.
It was
Yeah, I know. Oh my gosh, BFA. You know, some of those tournaments seem to last like literally the entire day.
oh yeah, they're like 14-hour tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one of the series. I remember I went to the gym. You know, did an entire workout, came back. It was the same series that was on. Like, when I left for the gym. So,
Yeah.
Times have changed definitely for the better in that
Yes.
respect.
That must have been Cloud9.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is here's a funny story. I'm not even joking. My mom was at my house one time and I had the AWC playing on my TV.
Yeah.
And I was trying to explain to her like World of Warcraft PvP, and it was actually Cloud9 was playing, and my mom was like, she said, "Why aren't they attacking? What are they doing?" And so even she knew that they were the dampeners. She could tell. Incompletely, this team.
Yeah, you tell her how it's damp 9. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so she knew. And I was
That's
like, oh,
funny.
I'm
That
proud
is
of
funny.
you, Mom. You know PvP.
you know when you see that. Well, let's say so. I want to give a quick congrats though to Skill Cap EU. They took the EU Cup there on the 13th, and Kawhi, now Method NA.
Yeah.
Congratulations to them for picking up that sponsorship. and for taking the NA Cup. I believe that's 2 cups in a row for them. So
Yeah.
they have mondo amount of points going into this 4th cup. So
Yeah, they were able to best OTK there in the finals, and
Right.
I tell you, it was. I think OTK was rather disappointed. I don't think I know. Twitter also knows. They were rather disappointed in their performance in that game. So I think there's going to be a lot to prove in this next cup, and it was really awesome to get to see D Machine on the desk because Zico has been out for some medical stuff, and so it was really a treat to be able to have him, the producer for or the product director, I should say, for the WoW Esports AWC, and it just kind of, he also reminded us how it's getting down to the wire on if you want your team to be able to qualify for the circuit, which is kind of like what the LAN equivalent was back when we could still do LANs. The time's running out, so
yeah,
these teams have got to either get some serious runs to come back from behind, or they may not be making it to the circuit. So it's
nope. And they need to get to the circuit because that's I think 120,000.
Yeah, that's where all the magic happens.
Yeah, that's a huge pool. I mean, the 120 doesn't go to the first place, right? It gets divvied up, but still, I mean, that's a huge prize pool.
Yeah, and of course that's
120 or 130.
But but I mean, even aside from that, even if you're a team that doesn't have a sponsorship, like for whatever reason, whenever in WoW Esports, whenever circuits comes out, every team pretty much seems to soak up a sponsorship from some esports organization, seemingly. And I mean that's where the critical mass and that turning point, that tipping point is, to where it's like you're gonna have so many eyes on this, and this, you've made it. This is the big leagues.
Yeah,
this is where the big boys play. So, and especially in terms of respect. If you want that respect, you got to make it to circuit.
Yes, definitely. I'd say more the respect, and so it's going to go. I think it's the top 8 or the top 12 teams from points will get picked to go to the circuit, and then they do 4 weeks of a round robin. And then I want to say the top 4 from that are going to go to the finals, and then we'll go into season 2. So it's gonna be interesting, to say the least. Like I said, there's gonna be some teams that are gonna be fighting over a point difference, whether or not they make the cut or not.
Yeah.
So this is good.
That's huge.
Yeah.
The competition is super steep. So,
talk about making a point or two. The hot fixes have been still rolling around. Since the last time we talked, there was quite a big class post that had been done. Now I'm thinking they've done a few more tweaks, if I remember correctly. Mostly a few issues and whatnot. Unholy got slightly tweaked on Necro Strike. And I think Beastmaster got a slight buff. So Beastmaster is actually coming out strong. I ran into a few of those. Those guys were hitting way stronger than I remember. So
yeah, I'd imagine so. Yeah.
Yikes! I'm trying to think what else though. Is there anything that's jumped out at you guys in the last couple weeks for the hot fixes?
I know Mystery Monks got those buffs. That was kind of a big deal with them.
Was that really consequential though? Did that really provide any value for them? Or
I think so. I mean, I think Mystery Monks are kind of in a similar position to Druids, where it's just it's a few minor percentage points away from being a really, really good healer.
Yeah.
And if you can tune that knob just a little bit to the right, I think they're gonna be very good healers.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the Beast Mastery changes. I think really Beast Mastery hunters do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And no one really knows this right now.
Yeah.
They do a lot of consistent damage, so that's really big. Of course, there's the buffs to Frost Mage, which are really huge as well.
Yep.
I know Venruki's been streaming that a lot on his mage. So it's been nice to see something other than fire being played for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
So that's been a big change as well. From my understanding, though, the Death Knight change doesn't really put Unholy above Frost right now. I think Frost is still typically the spec of choice for PvP, just because it has Chill Streak, it has the control, it has a lot of the big damage that Unholy just doesn't have right now.
I thought Unholy still had some good damage. I thought the difference was with Frost is it because it also has on the PvP talents how much it messes up cooldowns on the opposing team.
Oh, I think every single DK spec can choose Heartstop Aura. I think that's what it's called. It's Heartstop Aura.
Yeah.
They all have access to that. But I think
Okay.
the Frost right now has that disorient effect. I forget exactly what it's called. All the Frost DK abilities sound the same to me.
Yeah.
They're all the same. It's some. Have you ever seen that movie? That Batman movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, where he plays Mr. Freeze or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
And every single line in that movie is puns. That is pretty much every single DK ability. I'm pretty sure he does say DK abilities in that movie at some point. That's how DK. That's how Frost DKs are. It's always like Chill Streak or Chains of Ice. There's always some pun in there, some from allusion to Frost. So they all sound the same to me.
It's funny because it's true. It's
Yeah, it is.
Oh boy, I feel bad because I've actually been playing. I've been maining Frost Druid or Frost DK, and I don't know the ability names either. So
I don't think no one does. They don't know.
That's too bad. So a couple other items. I think that's about it for the hot fixes. Over on Twitter, there's a Twitter user named Rec Presses W. They were generating a bunch. Yeah. Better than pressing S, I guess.
Well, I mean, he probably wins by just pressing W. Yeah.
There you go. So I'd say go give them a follow. They've been doing these great post AWC tweets where they run through a whole bunch of statistics of what they've seen on the AW or what we've all seen from the AWC. So talking about class representation, comps, win-loss ratios. Usually it's like a 4 or 5 combined tweet. So go check them out. And if you don't want to see just a bunch of numbers on a tweet, but you like to see a bunch of graphics as well, go over to Drustvar.com and check out their new updates to the AWC statistics, including teams, compositions they've been playing, and again the whole win-loss ratios and a bunch of other fun stuff, and just like a good representation of what the comps that they've been playing in the maps.
Yeah, it's
So,
such a neat site.
Man, Chris has been nailing it.
Oh, absolutely.
It's he was teasing it to me earlier. I couldn't talk about it though. I was like, oh, I can't wait till this gets out. So yeah, so I'm glad he finally put it out there. It's a huge amount of work for him because a lot of it he has to do manually, but it's a job of passion, right?
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely.
And last but not least, another thing from the community over on the World of PvP Reddit or subreddit, a user I'm LJ Fau made a PvP CC and Dispel cheat sheet. So I know I tweeted about this earlier, but I wanted to highlight it on the show as well. This thing I think is amazing. It's a Google Doc. It's a living document. So if you see anything wrong or something changes, message them on the subreddit, and they'll make the changes as needed. Because the idea is that this is to be a community thing with accuracy, but it shows like what different specs and classes can do what, and like we're saying before, like some of the CC stuff, the tool tips are completely wrong because they're modified for PvP. This will actually show what it is.
Right? Or PvE,
so,
yeah.
I give this person tremendous respect. Actually, to plug myself really quick here.
Ooh, yeah.
I think it was during Legion, I wrote a similar guide for Wowhead, and it was just a pain in the butt to find like every single spell and every single DR category. It was so difficult. So
it's not simple.
It's not simple. Diminishing returns are an incredibly dense subject.
Yeah.
And so you really need to have some major focus to be able to write something like this. So
Yeah.
give them some upvotes if you have a Reddit account.
By all
Nice.
means. I think I think if you go to the what's hot, it's still on the top, on the high level there. I think it's got over 300 and something thumbs up or
As it
votes or
should.
whatever.
As it should.
Yeah, I think you should have more. But
Yeah.
all right, let's do some shout outs and roll this out. I guess Big, we'll start with you. Do you have any shout outs you want to give?
No,
Anybody, any friends, any?
Or can I plug some stuff?
You're gonna get a second to do that.
Yeah.
You'll get another chance to do that.
Okay. No, shout outs to the WoW esports team. I think they've come a long way. They've done a great job, and the product of WoW esports is really, really strong right now, and I really appreciate that. And yeah, I think that's my main shout out.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for everyone in the community for doing what you do.
Awesome, Andallyn.
Yeah. I do have a shout out this week. So I'm going to shout out. So as you may or know, I support the AWC and MDI production teams. And sometimes that's moderating. But every once in a while when I'm doing some production stuff, I'll look in the chat. But I want to shout out to YouTube user CupidStunTQQ, who picked up and said, "Yo, Andallyn, thanks for the podcast. I listened to every episode. Great work." So shout out to that person. I shared that with you, and I was like, "Hey, that's awesome." Yeah.
That's obviously that stuff gives me energy.
Yeah.
Hearing about that stuff.
absolutely.
When people message us in game or see us on in esports chat and doing stuff, and they bring that up, it just that gives me energy.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, so I figured I'd give them a shout out on the show. That I thought that was fitting, so that's awesome. Shout out to you, man.
Totally. I want to follow that up with Tannen1988 over on iTunes gave a 5-star review to us back in December. I don't go there very often. I really should go there more often. I'm sorry, Tannen. But I just want to read what they said, and they said, "My new favorite podcast. Just started listening to your podcast recently, but the few I've listened to are great. Really like how you bring on the big PvP, the PvP big names to break down and get into each and every detail of their class. Only suggestion would be to turn off the battle music while talking is going on. Keep up the great work." I
Battle
like that,
music.
and yeah, so I was trying to do some bed music there for a few episodes, and yeah, so already taken under advisement. Already changed that. I went and started doing the BFA Shanty song from the Alliance Inns.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, it's a little bit more chippy. But yeah.
Gotcha. I see.
Yeah,
Good
I was
suggestion.
saying- yeah, great
Yeah.
suggestion. With great minds think alike.
That's
All
right.
right, Big, this is your chance to shine.
Yeah.
Where can our listeners find you on the interwebs? Pimp your shit.
Okay. Well, you can find me
Bleep.
if you want on Twitter at Bigmoran IRL. But also I've been helping produce a lot of videos right now for Skill Cap on for the free videos that are available on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and search Skill Cap WoW Guides, you'll see a lot of videos, and we're constantly producing them. I think we are aiming to produce 4 or 5 or 6 a week.
Wow.
So a lot of good stuff there. And actually we've got one coming out soon about those diminishing returns that I was talking about. So stay tuned for that, and there's a lot of information that's really, really useful on those videos. So Skill Cap WoW Guides for sure.
Nice. And you're pretty active over on the Skill Cap Discord too, right?
Lately, yes. Yes, lately I have been. So I plan on continuing to do that. It's another good resource. And, you don't have to pay you don't have to pay anything for that. You can just join the Discord, and you'll have access to a good resource of tools to help you with PvP.
That's awesome.
Indeed.
I need to join
That's
that.
awesome.
Although,
It's actually really, yeah. I stealth joined a little while ago.
so
It's,
many Discords, man. Jeez.
Folders were made for a reason.
Ugh.
All right, Andallyn. While you are trying to sort out your Discord servers,
It never will happen.
Can you let everybody know where they can find us?
Absolutely. You can contact us directly with a tweet to @technically_PvP or with an email to technicallypvp@gmail.com. You can also join our discussions on the Warcraft Radio Discord and specifically in the Technically PvP chat channel.
Indeed. And you can also join the Warcraft Radio website, where you'll find the podcast directory with us and other many great shows over at warcraftradio.com. And don't forget that this new directory also has a review system, so head on over there and tell everybody what you think of the shows you're listening to. Links for all these are going to be in the show notes. I want to thank everyone for listening. We'll chat with you next time. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for stopping by. I'm Ron Burgundy.